Like the Bible says that nobody lights a candle and put it under a bushel. The Bible says that nobody lights a candle, nobody lights a lamp and put it under a bushel. It said they put it on top so that it brings light to other people. That's the whole point. That's why the Bible said, let your light so shine that men may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. We all have the light that God has given us. All you have to do is to let it shine. The one thing I've learned about light is it doesn't matter how small the light is. When that light gets into darkness, darkness has no place. It doesn't matter. You can just have a flashlight on your phone. It doesn't matter how small the light is. Either it's a big light, LED light, or it's a small flashlight coming straight from your phone. It doesn't matter. When it gets into darkness, it lights up the place. That's why the Bible calls us, you are the light of the world. I am the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. I am the salt of the earth. So don't dim your light. I know there is a saying that says don't dim your light for someone else to shine or something like that. So yeah, don't dim your light. Don't dim your light. Know that God has given you something and God is counting on you to do something with it. I will know you truly believe in what God has called you to do by your consistency. If you truly believe in that thing that you are doing, you will be consistent at it. So I believe so much in what God has called me to do. That's why I showed up every day, showed up every week. That's why I continue to create content on YouTube. Is it hard work? Yes, it's a lot of hard work. Go and ask anybody that creates content on YouTube. It's a lot of hard work. But I stayed consistent with it. And that's how we got here today. So I want to encourage you with that first segment is don't despise the little. God can do so much with it. If you don't despise it. God can do so much with it if you don't despise the little that you've been given. And the other thing that I believe has helped me on my journey is really focus. Let me tell you this. The closer you get to what God has called you to do, the biggest enemy you would have to fight is distraction. Is distraction. The biggest enemy you have to fight on your journey to fulfillment of the vision God has given you, it's not really the devil, it's not really the enemy, it's distraction. The enemy of focus is distraction. In the past 10 years, there were many things that has come to distract me from doing this one thing that I'm doing right now. If I had not fought distraction, I would not be where I am today. There are many things I could be doing. There are many things that was calling for my attention. There are many things that was pulling me away from, that was trying to pull me away from this thing that God has called me to do. So I believe the biggest battle you will have to fight once you start doing what God has called you to do is staying focused, keeping your eyes on the ball. Staying focused to that, staying focused, 100% focus. And not allowing anything to break that focus. Because the growth, the blessing, all that you are believing God for is in the focus. I see a lot of people start things, they start this and then 6 months later they're doing something else, and then 6 months later they're doing something else, and then so within a year they've done two things, that they've started something brand new twice. Sometimes it's not that things are not working, it's just because you've not given it your 100% yet. It doesn't mean that that thing is bad. It doesn't mean that that thing is not meant to work. It just means that you've not really given it 100% yet. You've been giving it 20%, 50%. You've been giving it here and there. You've not really devoted yourself to it. It doesn't mean that that thing is bad. It doesn't mean that that thing will not work. But usually what we do is we do things for a little bit. We don't see any results. Oh, I'm just going to quit. From 2011 to 2015, I only had about 5,000 subscribers on my channel. I was actually getting discouraged because my channel was growing so slow that I feel like I'm putting so much work into creating this content. Nobody's watching them and nobody is subscribing. Why bother doing it? Why bother doing it? So I would have given up. I would have just given up and said, this is not worth my time. But the problem was not the thing, it was me, because let me tell you something. Back then, between 2011 and 2015, I was only releasing like one content a month or two content a month. I wasn't really giving my 100% to this thing. I wasn't. I will be honest with you, I wasn't really giving everything I had to this thing. I was just doing it whenever I can. It was something I do for leisure. Okay, I'm bored. Let me just record something today. I'm bored. I'm just going to record something. Other things take priority above these things that I believe God has called me to do. So 2011 to 2015, I was just doing it whenever I can. I don't really care. And the reason why I did not grow in 2011 to 2015 is because I didn't give my 100% to it. I was allowing other things to distract me from this one thing. So one of the things you would have to fight on your journey is fight to stay focused. Fight to see that thing come to life. There's a parable in the New Testament. I can't remember exactly where it is right now. It's a parable of a gardener and a parable of a servant. So the Bible was talking about there is this tree that has been taking up space and had no fruit on it. So the gardener came and said, you know what? I want you to cut this tree down. For 3 years, this tree has been here doing nothing, bearing no fruit, just taking up my space. I need to plant something else here. Take this tree off, cut it down, get it off my land. And the servant said to the gardener, he said, you know what? Let's not cut it off yet. He said, why don't we give it 1 year? Let's give everything we need to give to this tree. Let's give it fertilizer. Let's give it everything that it needs. And watch it for 1 year. And if after 1 year, this tree still doesn't produce fruit, then let's cut it down. That parable spoke to me many years ago, is that sometimes we cut things down prematurely. It's not because they're not producing fruit, not because they don't have the ability to produce fruit. They're not producing fruit because we haven't given it everything that it takes. So we are blaming the tree for not producing fruit. You are blaming your gift for not producing fruit. Whereas it's not really the gift, it's not really the tree. It is because you have not really given it all. You've not devoted yourself to this thing yet. You're doing it day, you are a part-time with your vision. So it doesn't mean that the vision is bad. It doesn't mean that the gift will not work. It doesn't mean that the dream will not work. It's that you are not devoted to it 100% yet. So that gardener would have made the mistake of cutting down the tree prematurely. But the servant said, hey, let's not do that yet. Let's not cut this down yet. Let's give it 1 year. Let's give everything it needs for 1 year. Let's devote ourselves 100% to caring for this tree and see if it produces fruit. And if it does produce fruit, then we're going to keep it. But if it doesn't produce fruit, then we'll cut it down. So my encouragement to you is, could it be that you are cutting things down prematurely because you haven't given your full attention to them? What you focus on grows. What you focus on goes bigger. What you focus on becomes bigger. Every time I remember from 2015 onward, I decided to be fully in on this thing. I said to myself, if between 2011 to 2015, I was doing this, whenever I can, and I still got this little bit of growth, I still got this number of subscribers, I still got these views. What if I give myself fully to these things? What if I give myself 100%? So from 2015, that's when I began to seek the face of God on the direction I want this ministry to go. And then when God showed me what I need to do, guess what I did? I committed myself to it 100%. I remember then in 2015, even up till now, I release at least one video every week. I do a recording at least once every week. I must record. I must spend time in God's presence. I must record on my keyboard once a week without fail. It's a practice. I've given myself to this. Sometimes I do 3 sessions or 2 sessions in a week. So from 2015 to now, I've given myself fully to this. And the more I commit myself to these things, the bigger it gets. It keeps growing. So the one of the biggest things you would have to fight off as you begin to contend for that which God has called you to do, as you begin to fulfill the vision and the purpose God has given to you, is distraction. Don't be distracted. Don't let what is good distract you from what is best. Did you hear that? Don't let what is good distract you from what is best. Paul says it this way. Paul says, all things are lawful, but I will not be bound by anything. Paul said, all things are lawful. That's great, but I will not be bound by anything. He said, not all things are expedient, which means Something may actually be good in itself. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're not good for you. They're not good for what God has called you to do. They're not good for the vision God has given you. They're not good for where you need to go. They're not good. The fact that everybody is doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean it's good for you and where you're going. But that's how much it takes for me to get to where I am today. It took my whole attention being devoted to this. It took me being focused 100% on this.